Live from Sin City, it's the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. And now, here's the star of the show, Diet Dr. Griffin!
This is Diet Dr. Griffin back with another episode of the Socks and Pinstripes Podcast. We're just over 2 weeks away from the games in Tokyo between the Cubbies and the Dodgers. And we got Shane with us today because we're going to be talking about the NL and AL West.
Woo, let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, first off, Griffin, you said there were some owies, that
Well,
we need to
this
talk
is
about.
kind
But I
of
wanted to ask you really quickly, what was your worst sports owie?
my worst sports owie. I mean, are we talking like something where I got hurt like lifting weights, or are we talking about something where like I actually got hurt doing something athletic?
Doing something athletic, preferably like a sport, but doesn't necessarily have to be.
Well, one time I was running on Thanksgiving and I tripped on a rock and bashed my head into another rock.
That's a pretty big. Did you get a concussion?
No, I didn't get a concussion, but I couldn't walk very well after my knee locked up pretty hard after Thanksgiving, and I couldn't walk for like very well for a week.
Yeah.
And it was awkward at Taylor's house for Thanksgiving, going over and having a big patch on my face because I was bleeding above my eye. Like it was bad. Like if another like thing, another direction or two, I probably could have maybe taken my eye out or something. It was pretty bad.
Oh, wow. Geez, that is pretty serious.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get concussed or anything, but I had a nice cut above my face, and I broke my sunglasses I was wearing. So
Okay, I mean, I feel like that's like a 60-day IL, so.
no, I've had other injuries worse than that, but that would be one where I was actually like doing something athletic versus hurting myself at the gym.
Gotcha.
I did have the Joe Musgrove dropping a weight on my foot once, but it wasn't as bad as Musgrove's.
Dude, that is, I've almost dropped a knife on my foot, so because I cook a lot, and I'm the same way with weights, where as soon as that thing starts going towards the floor, I just like spread eagle, jump back as far as I can, and just whatever happens after that. So
Yeah. Are you at a gym where it's normal for stuff to be dropped?
So we have like a specific area where that is allowed. Obviously, sometimes like gym bros just will do whatever they want, wherever they want. But
Yeah.
there is technically just a specific area where you're allowed to drop weights at the gym that I'm at.
Yeah, I work out at a gym that pretty much has like a CrossFitting section and they do all their drops, and it's just you just get used to it hearing that this 200 pounds just dropped onto the floor. You just get used to the clangs and that after a while.
For mine, it's a really old building, like 1930s or whatever. It's an old bathhouse that they renovated into a gym, and so there's no insulation in between the walls. And the basketball court is right above reception when you walk in. So when it's like free play, it literally sounds, like an earthquake or like a rock fall or something is happening above you.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Some players are starting to drop like flies right now. Seems like a lot of it's happening with the New York teams right now. Yeah, Sean Manaea has got an oblique issue. He's gonna at least miss the first probably couple weeks of the season. Frankie Montas is gonna be out for a while. Now you've got DJ LeMahieu with the Yankees getting hurt. Giancarlo Stanton's already going to start the season on the injured list with his elbow issues. Jason Dominguez can't catch a fly ball in the outfield right now. He's trying to do his Aaron Hicks impersonation, which is hilarious.
Nice.
But that's the thing you watch for most in spring training is you watch for all the owies. And not just like the big owies, like Luis Heel, for example. He's got some shoulder issues, which could really hurt. But then you got the guys that get taken out after like a wink. If he winks wrong, like they take him out of the game. Like they're talking about Gunnar Henderson having an oblique issue. And it's like one of those things where it's like, does he really have an oblique issue or does he have like a mini owie?
Yeah.
But that's typically
Yeah.
what I pay attention to spring trainings for is basically just injuries and just seeing who is dinged up and who's gonna make it to the regular season.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, sometimes you see stuff with pitchers, and then you see like Shohei Ohtani hitting a home run in his first at bat, but it's like, is it really is he really healthy, or is he just hitting something off of a guy who's never gonna advance past single A ball?
Yeah, no, I love it too because the we don't have any offense on the M's, and so all their like huge, spring training videos, how they try to get us, the fan base, interested in spring training is like Julio Rodriguez took at bats against Andres Munoz in live batting practice, and he says Andres Munoz is a good pitcher. I'm like, okay, well, we all knew that already. So
Yeah.
what else do you got?
You've only been teammates for the past, few
Yeah.
years now.
It's like, well, we're going to do nothing on the offensive side of the ball. So let's just talk about how good our pitching is. And hopefully everyone will not care that we did nothing.
Well,
So,
Anthony Rizzo's complaining about how nobody wants him to play for anything above the league minimum. And like you could probably do worse than Rizzle Dizzle right there at first base.
I mean, we'll take them. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't go after Finnegan for under his arbitration amount, which was like, what did you say? Like 1.5 million or
I
whatever.
think, yeah, I think he was supposed to get 8 or so in arbitration, and he ended up signing for 6.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that was that, and he ended up going back to the Nationals, which again is a surprise. They're just
where did he get traded to again?
he didn't get traded. He was basically non-tendered.
Oh, yeah, it's like super surprising given that pitching and especially high leverage pitching and how good he was last year that no team wanted to take a chance on that
Yeah.
is surprising. I feel bad for the guy that he is signed for 2 million less than he would have gotten if he would have just taken his arbitration.
Well, no,
So,
I don't think the Nationals non-tendered him, which basically means they didn't offer him arbitration.
oh, geez, even more of a slap in the face.
Yeah, that just happens every once in a while, like even Kyle Schwarber got non-tendered by the
No,
Cubbies because they didn't want to
okay.
pay him like $8 million, and then he goes to the Nationals and he starts June Schwarber and hits, like a dozen home runs in June, and then gets traded to the Red Sox and signs for like $100 million.
Oh, dude, speaking of that, in 1998, the Mariners told Randy Johnson that extending him was, in quotations, not a good investment. So they traded him. He finished the season 10-1 with a 1.28 ERA and started a string of absolute dominance, winning the next 4 Cy Youngs and a World Series MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet they wish they could have had a mulligan on that one. Wow, I mean yeah.
I just love not a good investment. What I don't know what we're doing out here, but we're not doing the right thing. So
No, no. But that's as good of a time as any to talk about the West divisions, which we'll be covering on today's show. So let's start with the AL West since you brought Randy Johnson's name back into your lips there. Who do you have winning the AL West this year, Shane?
Astros, it's boring, but I just don't think anyone's gonna play better than they will, even without Kyle Tucker.
Yeah. Who do you have going the rest of the way?
So this one's tough. I mean, just by how terrible this division kind of is, the Mariners have to be up there. I think because the Mariners have the best starting pitching in baseball, arguably, as much as I don't want to put them second, I think I have to put them second. I'm putting the Athletics behind them, the Rangers behind the Athletics, and the Angels dead last.
All right. So you have Astros, Mariners, Athletics, Rangers, Angels.
Yeah. I don't think the Rangers really did anything to improve their roster again. I think they're still just kind of enjoying that they won a World Series. The Astros seem to just always want to make sure that everyone knows they'll never be better than them. Who knows what the Angels are doing? And the Mariners are just going to be a frustratingly good, but also bad team. So I wanted to put the Athletics above the Mariners, and part of me still wants to do that. I just don't think. I don't know. We'll see. With as good of pitching as the Mariners have in the starting rotation, it's just hard to think that they would be anything other than second place because that side of the baseball is World Series caliber.
So I've gone in a bit of a different direction than you on this, which is this is always good. I like that we don't discuss this stuff ahead of time. So we just kind of take up our list and we see what we think. So we outside of the first and last teams, we are in disagreement. So
Oh,
I
okay.
have the Astros winning the division. I think the Rangers are going to be second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get over their World Series hangover this year, and some of the guys that struggle are gonna have better years. I think
Okay.
they've got a pretty good offense, and I know it's dangerous that I'm banking on a healthy Jacob deGrom, but he's
Yeah, we'll
back.
see how that works out for you.
He's back, and they still have Nathan Eovaldi, and they still have a lot of good offensive players on that team. And I just think I think they're gonna catch up and do their thing this year. But you're
Okay.
right. This is a pretty weak division across the board,
Yeah.
and I'm not doing this with a lot of confidence.
I mean, it feels like it could go either way still. I mean, the Astros, the only reason why I keep the Astros at the top is they had no starting pitching last year and they still managed to win the division. So,
They've got a decent number at bats. I think Paredes is gonna have a good year with them.
yeah.
And I think they ultimately are gonna win the trade with Kyle Tucker because I don't think Tucker's gonna sign with the Cubs.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens with
But
that.
here's where I get wild, okay?
Okay, let's
I
go.
have the Athletics finishing third.
Let's go. I wanted to put them above the Mariners. I really did, just because I'm so pissed. But I just,
The
yeah,
Athletics are moving to a I mean, not more hitter friendly ballpark, and I think their offense is going to be a lot better this year.
yeah,
And they actually did a couple things to try to improve their pitching this year because they had to spend that money. Otherwise, it'd probably be part of a lawsuit going against the players union, wondering what you're doing with all of our money here.
yeah, exactly right.
So they did spend a little bit, and I have the Angels finishing dead last because they're the Angels, and that's what they do.
Yeah, and the Mariners right above them, but having a losing record to the Angels because that's what the Mariners do. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just that Mariners offense is just going to be so bad.
it seems like it's only gotten worse, but we'll see what happens. So apparently, Mitch Garver is supposed to be so much better in year two. So
Yeah, I've always heard that he just wants to. He does better when he's actually catching versus being a straight up DH, which is kind of
yeah, well, I don't know why the M's wouldn't just go after a DH since they just seem hell bent on having that person, but whatever. Maybe they hope Rowdy Telez will be that. I don't know. So
I think they just made some bad contract decisions. I think they gave Garver $12 million and they couldn't for 2 years. Like
yeah,
each year $12 million, and they just couldn't afford to like overcome that.
it's just the history of mistakes with this organization, and then Jerry DePoto is like, so
Well, let's talk about the NL West now. Who do you have winning the division? I think be a shocker if it is anyone besides the Dodgers.
yeah, I was gonna say Padres. No, I'm going with the Dodgers. So
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be
I don't think anyone besides like somebody's mom would on the Diamondbacks or any other team would take the anyone besides the Dodgers in that division.
I'm gonna go Dodgers, D-backs, Friars, Gigantes, and the Rockies. I wish the Rockies were a winning team, but it feels pretty easy just to put them in last place. No, I
Oh, the
only
Rockies are one of the worst run organizations in sports, and it's a shame because they have a great ballpark and a great fan base, but they just they just seem content to just do nothing and squander people's careers.
yeah,
Charlie Blackmon, and
yeah.
they just don't do anything.
Yep. I know all about that. So
Yeah, I'm in this is an instance where we're in exact agreement. I have the exact same layout for
Oh,
my
really? Okay.
NL West. Yeah. But
Yeah, I
I'm
was
I'm gonna I do have a bit of a hot take with one of my teams here because
okay.
I think the Diamondbacks are going to win 100 games this year.
Wow.
100
Okay.
games for the second place team, which doesn't
Are
happen
you
too often.
are you picking up Corbin again this year in the
Corbin
draft?
Carroll, you mean?
Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't remember his
You
last
know,
name.
this year in fantasy, I have done a number of mock drafts already. I don't know if you've done any yet, but
Answer to that is no. So
this year is wild in terms of how it shakes out.
really,
Yeah. I don't want to give
okay.
up too much of my draft strategy or anything
Well,
like
no
that.
draft strategy. What has been the top 10 like on average most consistently?
The top 10 usually, if you go by like ADP, it's usually the top three are Otani, Witt, and Judge.
Gotcha.
I can't remember if Witt or Judge is ahead, but those are generally the top three. And then
Gotcha.
typically, I don't remember the exact order after that, but usually you see Soto in there, you see Ellie, Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts, and then like Paul Skeens sometimes shows up at the end of the first round. Tarek Skubal too.
Oh
Those
wow.
usually end up being the first couple of pitchers going. But then you got like you got
No Freddie Freeman in the top 10.
Jose
Huh?
Ramirez is usually around like four or five typically. Forgot
Okay.
about him.
Yeah.
And then you got guys like, Corbin Carroll, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, Yordan Alvarez, Francisco Lindor. A lot of those guys are ending up at like the bottom half of the first round into the
Wow.
second
I'm
round.
surprised Jordan is still so high because granted, he was injured, but he had an absolute garbage fire year last year.
I mean, Yordan Alvarez is basically just a guy that is injury prone and is always a perennial second round pick, basically, because he's such a good four tool player, but he doesn't steal bases.
Yeah, that's true. I'm surprised Ellie is so high after
Well, I
he,
mean, that's how you gotta remember these are more traditional
yeah.
draft orders. So they're playing 5 by 5 leagues, which are the traditional batting average, runs, RBI, home runs, and stolen bases. And Ellie is such a outlier in stolen bases that he tends to get elevated as a result of that.
Yeah, except for he just gave up the last half of the season last year. So
Well, there's also the thing that Ellie still has room to improve too.
yeah, that's true. He could definitely improve in the errors department. That's all I'll say
Well,
about that.
traditional fantasy ball doesn't care about errors.
Oh man, wow, that'd be yeah. I
Our
mean, he
league
would
is
be a
weird
really
that we
good
care
player. So
about errors. I would love to have some kind of like live draft coverage of us like talking about the draft while we're drafting, but I have a feeling that would just not be feasible for both of us.
yeah,
We would probably go stir crazy and maybe we'll have to talk after the draft about what we think about our teams.
yeah,
We're still working
yeah,
out the details of that, but I think that would be entertaining content just to talk about our drafts afterwards.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah. Afterwards, for sure. You might have to bleep out some things depending on what happens, but
We might have to make it a special after dark episode so that I
yeah,
don't have to bleep anything out and we can just talk about how we're panicking on opening night about our teams.
yeah,
Because we are drafting 2 weeks from today, which is, of course, prior to the series in Tokyo between the two teams, the Dodgers and the Cubs.
Yeah.
which if you remember last year, it was like you didn't really want none of those players really did anything in that series. And because the Dodgers played the Padres in Korea last year, and like
Yeah.
all of the starters were pretty much horrible in those games, and like the hitters didn't really do a whole lot. So just one of those things where it's like, do we really need to be doing this a week early? Like, just be waiting and getting more information about injuries.
Yeah, it's
But no,
exciting,
we
you
have
know.
a couple managers in our league who are insistent upon that.
One of those managers would be me. So
I was just gonna say your name, but I'm glad you at least at least owned up to it.
yeah, I'll own up to it. You put it to a vote, and there are more people in agreement with me than there are people in agreement with the other side of the equation.
Yeah,
So
I'm pretty sure I was on the other side of the equation simply for the sake of having information. I think that's just so important.
yeah.
The one year that we drafted early where there wasn't like a baseball game like this going on was the year that Jeff was having his first baby.
Oh,
And
geez.
it just so happened that his wife was gonna give labor like on draft day or right around there. So he asked us to move the draft up, and then we did that. And I don't think you were in the league when this happened, but
No.
the year that it ended up happening, I drafted two guys that got hurt like immediately after or had injuries that weren't publicly known at the time.
Oh, wow. That's such a
I
bummer.
had I had Luke Voigt who injured his knee. This was him coming. I think this was him coming off of his like big season when he led the majors in home runs and during the pandemic season.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then I had Zach Gallen, and he got hurt because he was swinging a bat during, trying to get ready to hit. This is back, of course, when pitchers were hitting. So he ends up
Yeah.
injuring his forearm trying to swing a bat.
Not that long ago, too. So
Yeah. So yeah, that season was pretty much a dumpster fire for me because we drafted a week early.
yeah.
So I try
Yeah,
to
I'm still
avoid that when
regretting
possible.
taking Ellie De La Cruz over Bobby Witt Jr. last year. That decision really
We
didn't
all
pan
passed
out.
on Bobby Witt Jr. last year. We all were low on him. I mean, I could have taken him when I was waffling over Corbin Carroll and Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, he was complete afterthought. None of us were particularly high on him, and now one of us is
Wait,
probably
so
going to take in the top three. Whoever ends up getting the top three.
yeah. Kyle Tucker hasn't signed with the Cubs yet?
Well, no, Kyle Tucker has a long. He's basically going to be a free agent after the season.
Okay, so he got traded to the Cubs, but he's going to be a free agent after.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. The Astros probably
I
look
got
at their budgets.
I got my betting ticket with my futures bet hanging in my above my car keys. So, I got to make sure that all the good players stay on the Cubs. So,
Well, for this season anyway, yeah.
yeah. All that matters is this season. I don't have a futures bet for next season. So, so why did you put the Diamondbacks above the Padres? Just out of curiosity.
I think the Diamondbacks were incredibly unlucky last year with their pitching.
Yeah. They
And
also have a really big stadium as well, too.
yeah, the thing about the Diamondbacks is that they nearly made the playoffs last year, but they got so little out of Jordan Montgomery, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Merrill Kelly. All
Yeah,
of
that's
those
true.
guys are healthy now. And they went out and added Corbin Burns to their rotation.
Oh, I forgot that's where Burns went. Yeah.
Yeah. So not only did they get three solid pitcher, I mean, nobody in the organization seems to think Jordan Montgomery's any good, but
Yeah.
I still think he's capable of at least being a mid rotation level pitcher.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And you're
Yeah.
going to need a lot of pitching depth in this day and age. But they went out and got like one of the best starting pitchers on the market in Corbin Burns to just put at the top of that rotation. So they're
Yeah.
already, I think, ahead of the game. And I just think they're a team that, you get that World Series hangover a bit, where some of the guys I think just, got overextended, kind of like with the Rangers. And now
Yeah.
you've got even more rotation depth. So I just think that team is lined up for big things. And they led the majors in offense last year too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess sneakily
Yeah, they
sneaking
scored
around
more
down
runs than
there.
anybody and missed the playoffs. And now they've only gotten better and have more pitching depth, which, fixing a lot of their weaknesses. I just think that team is really primed to do well this year.
Yeah. Plus they have I don't know if they're their City Connect jerseys or if they're just like an alternate jersey, but those like bright turquoise blue and black jerseys, I love those jerseys.
Well, I mean, they're gonna look good when they're winning this year, I'll tell you.
Which hopefully they'll do a lot of because they need someone to take on the Dodgers. So
I think honestly, with their team, they could actually give the Dodgers a good run for the money in the playoffs. I mean, anything can happen with health and between now and October.
yeah, that's true.
I think the Dodgers, for as great as their team is offensively, they have a lot of injury concerns to work around.
Well, and they have a lot of injury concerns in the pitching as well. So
Yeah, that's the thing. They've got a bunch of guys who haven't gone, more than 130 innings. And I have concerns about how Freddie and Ohtani are going to play this year too.
really, why is that?
Well, I mean, Freddie still got his ankle injury. Like how he's still kind of working through that.
Oh,
And
he's still. What did he do again? He
he
fractured it, or?
yeah, he had that ankle injury in the playoffs that he was working through.
Well, I know he had it, but was it just a sprain, or
I
was
think he
it,
ended up getting
like
surgery on it.
oh, geez, okay. I didn't realize it was like that bad. So,
No, it was
I
it
mean,
was
I knew it was bad, but I guess that's the joy of painkillers. Just hobbling around, not doing anything. You think
yeah.
Otani? Oh, so and what was Otani's deal again? He like hurt.
Otani, of course, is trying to recover and pitch, but he, separated his shoulder during the World Series and ended up getting
Oh yeah,
surgery on that.
stealing second base too. So
Yeah. So
which
I
is
just
like so stupid because it's like you don't need to. He didn't even need to steal that base either. So
that's just what he does. That's why I don't think he's
yeah.
gonna steal as many bases this year
Do you
as a
think he's gonna
result.
pitch this year?
Oh yeah, he's gonna pitch this year for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're not talking about him pitching until I believe May, possibly late May is what I've been hearing.
You know what I always thought would be really good for him, and they did this a little bit in the World Baseball Classic, is have him as like your high leverage, like late reliever guy because he throws hard enough and he has that fastball slider combo, which a lot of those late relievers have. Does Otani throw a changeup? I don't think he throws a changeup.
I'm not 100% sure what is about his arsenal. I'm sure he has some kind of changeup pitch in there. Can't imagine him being an effective starter without one.
Yeah, yeah, he's got to slow it down. I think he throws a curveball, but whatever. So.
The thing is, though, they're gonna apparently throw him out there without any rehab starts. He's not gonna do the traditional minor league where you build yourself up. He's basically just gonna start a few games and probably just go like a couple innings as he just builds up his depth or
Oh,
gas tank or whatever you want to call it.
okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see how he comes back. I am probably not going on a big limb saying that I will probably not be drafting the pitching version of Shohei Ohtani this year.
Yeah, I will not be either. So,
But you never say never because of all the because of how positions fall and positions break out. You never know with it, but it's likely that he's probably not going to be drafted by me.
yeah, I hope that this year, last year I had to draft like fifth or whatever, fifth or sixth, I think, which is right in the middle. This year, I hope I'm three or above or seven or later. I think I do better at the ends, no matter what they are.
Well, right now we only have 9 teams in our league, so
Oh,
it's
nice. It's going to be a good year for everybody this year.
Well, I mean, we got to get to 12, otherwise it kind of changes the equation.
Oh yeah, that's true. I keep asking friends of mine, but no one wants to commit to fantasy baseball. So I'm
Fantasy
just like,
baseball is
okay,
hard, man. It is
yeah,
a real grind. It's not like fantasy football where you can just do your lineup once a week and then you're good. This is like mainline drugs right here. You have to do it every single day in and day out. And it's funny. I listen to like some other fantasy podcasts and stuff, and they look at us everyday players like we are the ones that are crazy because they only do a lot of them only do like weekly leagues where you make
yeah,
your one set of lineup changes per week, and then you like do free agents. You do your waiver wire picks once a week, and then that's it. You just
okay,
like set it and forget it on
yeah,
Monday and then you're done. So that to me is just like crazy. You got games going on every day and you can't make moves and you can't
yeah,
adjust.
yeah. I mean, for the most part, I kind of will set it and just move players around as they're like off or whatever. Like I have who I think my everyday starters are, and then my fill-in guys. But then obviously, that kind of changes throughout the week when people go different places and different matchups and whatnot. But
Yeah, I mean
for the most part,
everybody.
especially towards the middle of the season, I kind of am like, all right, I gotta like take a mental health break for, like a month. Just make sure I'm still in the playoffs and then come back in after the All-Star break. And I'm like, okay, well, power to the finish now.
Oh man, that's gonna be crazy when I'm in Japan later on this year trying to manage my team and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
like 17 hours ahead of everybody. Oh,
Yeah, dude.
I don't know how I'm going to win that week if I'm all just completely out of sorts.
Well, hopefully I'm playing you that week. I'll take any advantage I can. So,
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. We gotta figure out how we're gonna get to our league size here.
yeah, that's true.
Well, let's do some mock drafts over the course of the week and discuss a little bit about some fantasy stuff going into next week because we're gonna probably have another short show as we talk about the AL and NL East teams. Although there are a lot of injuries that are going on in those divisions relative to the other ones so far.
Yeah. Who do you think the biggest challenge to the Dodgers outside of the NL West? Because obviously we just talked about how the Diamondbacks would be a pretty good challenge. Who do you think is challenging them in the playoffs outside of the NL West this year?
Well, it's we have about a minute to go here, but I'll give a quick little tease. I think probably the best team will be the Phillies.
Okay. All right.
I think that's well, we'll discuss them more next week, but Phillies would
Yeah.
be my pick off the top of my head.
Okay.
And do you have anything closing remarks, Shane?
Yeah, your boy Daniel Nava of the Red Sox was the first player in Major League Baseball history to achieve a grand slam on his first ever MLB career at bat while in interleague play.
I remember that. I vaguely
Yeah,
remember Daniel Nava. He didn't
yeah,
really shake out to anything, but I'm happy he at least has that record.
yeah, exactly. He's Nava interest anymore, but
All right,
hold
well,
the
we'll see
record.
you
So,
guys. We'll see you guys next week.
bye now.